Setting up here real quick. Did anyone by any chance look at footprints on a daily today? Nobody? Yeah, it's pretty negative today. If you guys checked, it was negative 21,000 on Delta today. Pretty good volume, and we are below a major POC here on Delta here, 45.71. So let's kind of dive into it. So if you guys look here, I'm on a weekly time frame now. This is on TPO. You guys can go on your profiles as well if you want. You can change this here. Go back to ETH and kind of go from here, and you'll see we are in balance, I would say, for past 1 to almost 3 weeks now, right? So we really haven't moved much in terms of price, right? We're staying still. So the best thing you could do here is just kind of look at this, right, and see where we're playing. And you see us bouncing off of this, I would say 7-day POC. I would make sure you guys have that noted on your charts, right? This is just my playground charts where I'll look at the charts, different time frames, see if I see anything unusual. But for you guys, I would definitely make sure that you have this marked up, right? On the first sig on the top, have the first sig on the bottom marked up. These are the levels, and then you would have this level here, which is going to be your major level to have on your charts. And I would draw a little box around this, something like this. If you're above it, that's great. If you're below it, most likely you're going to hit the bottom here, and that's how I would play it personally. You do have some support here at 60, but it's a prior week POC, so majority of your action is going to be the extremes, right? So the auction below, they went higher and they got slapped back inside, and now they're holding this POC. If you guys look, they're holding this POC here perfectly here right now. So if we do lose this POC, you see how quickly they're able to auction like they did today, all the way to the bottom, and then we hit that VPOC on a daily and bounce, right? But you see that we're not finding much value here. You're not finding much value higher, not finding any value higher here. So we had a pop here, and then you had lower highs here, lower highs continuing down all the way. So it just seems like the net new buyers are not interested here to go long. So if that's the case, well, if we're able to crack this right now, there's a higher chance that we might potentially break this area even lower, right? So I would definitely watch for the first sig, see if we crack that with volume, and then, how the footprints look. But that would be your first, confirmation that we are potentially going to go lower here. Any questions so far?
No.
Yeah. So when you look at the bigger picture stuff, right? So you can look at it multiple ways, right? So right now, what I'm doing here, you guys see that, VRVP here. You could definitely just go from the, from the bottom here that I'm grabbing now and find the top. And it seems like the high was put in right here before we started consolidating, because it's the first high that, was not followed by a bunch of lower highs. And this is the highest peak besides this flat surface here. And you guys see that we have this huge volume node that was kind of right here at 45.20. I would expect us to at some point test this right here, right? So I would definitely have this identified as a zone. And then you guys see here on the bottom as well that you have a nice little zone. I'll most likely change this to green here. Something like this. So this would be a really, really good spot, for a bounce here. So you're looking at somewhere about 43.80 or so. It would be a good spot. It most likely have some bounces in this area as well. 44, what is that? 83, if I remember. And then you would have some single prints in this area as well, 44.37. So these would be the small bounces where they come in and try to defend. But ultimately, we're going to auction back to 43.80, and that will be a decent long to capture it, right? But as of right now, when you guys look, we're not finding much value higher. They got to hold this. And if you guys remember right before when we were trading, I believe it was 30 and me, did I say that we were going to auction here? It's just that they took their sweet time, right? They went above, and I said,
yeah,
pretty short. I said we're gonna tap this. They were supposed to close here, but I just don't know where SPX was. That's why I hate the game of 0DTE. They were supposed to go here before 4 o'clock, but they came in here at 8:30, right? So if you're short, there was a low chance that they were going to stop you out. So, but that would have been a nice 10 points gain. I was short 10 contracts, but I covered rather quickly because I didn't see the speed that they're trying to get it in there on time. Okay, so now tomorrow, what do you want to see? Well, if you're holding this level here, and if you're able to, let's say, change the character on 5 minutes, right? If you're able to, let's say, take this out and you not give a nice little retest, well, most likely you can go higher, right? And you would enjoy that push higher. If you look at your 30 minutes, right? If you go on TPO and the volume profile, let me go here on SVP for a second, just kind of look at what do we have on ETH. So we have a VPOC on the upper side right here. So I would make sure I have this one marked, and VPOC for newer folks is just the Virgin POC. It's the POC from daily session that hasn't been retested. You also have weekly POCs. And this was the POC that we were watching today. That hopefully all of you guys had this one on today. Was there anyone that was not aware of this one? This VPOC here.
I was not aware of it.
Yep, it's not a bad habit to kind of look at it, right, and identify if there's any VPOCs that you should be adding to your charts. I will start getting into that habit, especially if they're extended. If there's like 8, 10, like we got one here, I would say maybe we got even one here, one here. And a quick way you can do this is if you click extend POC, right, all the ones that are VPOCs are going to be extended to the right here.
Yeah, it's a nice feature.
So you have 1, 2, 3. I don't count them ETH, right? I personally don't care. They're tapped ETH. But here you have another one right here sitting at 45.12. And then, of course, you have one that's on the top right here that was tapped ETH that we just marked as a VPOC. But you see, is this a healthy auction on the top or not healthy?
On the top or in that range of those two SIGs?
I would say this.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah, so is this a healthy auction or not? That would be the question that you're seeing right here.
Yeah, it's in balance.
I think so, yes.
Looks healthy.
Okay. When you have a tight value area, does that indicate that there's a lot of participants in a healthy auction, or what does it indicate?
No participants when it's outside of when it goes outside the area.
Well, you need a wider consolidation if you want to have major participants taking the price. Remember, we talked about the market and oranges. If there's only 2 people selling oranges, how much price variation are you going to have in the market?
Yeah.
You're not going to have much, right? And you're not going to have maybe a lot of participants buying that. So I would say the value area here, I mean, you're talking about 3-week value area is stuck. What is this, like maybe 20 points? 3 weeks, we have a range of 24 points on the value area. I don't know if that's super healthy. And then you see, right? And if you go back to your charts, I posted the latest PowerPoint. When price goes above, right? And then you have access, right? Like we do here. And then the price goes below and you have access on the bottom, and it's brought back in the middle. What type of day would that signify?
A neutral day.
Definitely neutral, right? So now if you think about this, we're somewhat neutral here, leaning more bullish or bearish. If you guys looked at this, would you say you're more bullish or bearish?
Bearish.
Bearish.
Why bearish?
Because it went up and rejected. It's coming back down. Came back down.
And then as quickly as you lost this, I would say, POC, you brought it back and you're above it right now. So every time you lost it, you came back and you were above the POC. So I don't know, right? When you look at it, it seems like they're lifting the value area higher high, especially on this elongated profile here. It seems like they're prepping for a bigger move, but they didn't find much value above. So they explored much higher, right? We had a little bit of levels here, 4608, 10. They explored, they hit, and they came back, right? So now, if they want to, go higher, they really got to build value and kind of progress right into this area.
Yeah,
they're going to have to build value here to tap and go higher.
Yeah,
Right?
aggressively.
If they can't, then they're going to build here and most likely go this way.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I think. I'm leaning towards that way more.
Yeah, and I mean, it's okay to have a bias. That's different than everybody else, right? But when you look at the daily candles and you add some volume, then you can have a little bit more generated information, right? So here, if you look at the candles on the, sorry, that thing always gets me. So if you look at these candles, what kind of candle formation is between these two here?
Bearish engulfing.
Very close. Anyone have any other guesses? Or it's okay if you just take a wild guess. That's
Seems indecisive. I don't know what type of candle though.
Have you guys ever heard of like a tweezer top?
Yes.
Yeah.
Double top.
Yeah, tweezer top, man. It's a guarantee that it's gonna go down.
This looks like a tweezer top a little bit, right? So I would just pay attention how, if the bears, so right now, when you just think about market structure, right? We do have lower high and a lower low on a daily. Is that correct?
Yes. Is a tweezer top guaranteed? Does that really
There's
go
no
down?
guarantee. No, it's not a guaranteed, but it's a pretty powerful setup.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Right. So, and you've been consolidating here, I would say, for some time now. So when you just kind of look at the data that you're seeing here, right, we're kind of stuck in a range there, right? So I'm going to take this VPOC out because we don't care for it anymore. It did its job. But right now, you're playing here. Your risk and your reward are limited. And why is that? Don't expect major plays when you're in this formation. And why is that? Why do I say that?
Because that's
A tight range.
indecision. They're still trying
We're in
to
a
figure
tight
out
range.
which way they want to go.
That's exactly it. We're still auctioning. We're negotiating. It's basically a dual auction right now. They don't know where to go, right? They're trying to kind of feel it out. Like, oh man, are the oranges better here or over there? Where do we go? And now when you look at your profiles, let me go on RTH just so you guys can see it. So you have a nice little gap that they were not able to really crack today, right? Let's just see. Hopefully it comes in. I don't know why it's so slow.
Maybe you have to stretch and scroll back, like remember with the sleepy. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So now if you look, what is the date telling you, right? So you have an elongated, right? You have an elongated little bit of, I don't even know if it's a P shape, right? But a really odd P shape, I would say.
Yeah.
You're going down, right? And you had a P shape here and they did not like the price. We were aware of these levels today, right? I would say 45.92 and we had the 86.75. I think I beat it to death last night or the night before. So we're aware of that. And now you see here, hey, at this level, so it seems like in period towards the end of the day, right? They tried to spike this and they really did not succeed. It actually countered for them, right? So now you have a single print in the last period here that are coming up at 78.5, right? The green dots for me are single prints, just so you guys know. And then you see here, I mean, when you think about the value area, right? So we said 23 points was the average. And look at this value area today. 23 points is the average of the past 2.5 weeks. Didn't we calculate that just moments ago?
Mm.
Right? Call it 24 points, maybe on a good day. Does that make sense? So today's day is only half of that, right? The area is very, very tight today. So if they do crack this tomorrow, 78.50, what do you expect? I would expect
Go to the VPOC.
guys. So it would most likely fly to the VPOC here. They'd be interested in going into this range right here. I would be targeting this range here. Is there levels in between? Yeah, of course, you had some single prints that are going to be fought, right? But it, they didn't really correct it because it was, here. When you think about it, they cracked it when? They cracked these levels pre-market, right? Right. So they didn't really give people during this, the session, right? New York session that to play it. So I would watch these levels as you're going up. Once you crack this, most likely you're going to come and meet these guys. And remember, these prints, the single prints, are they bullish or bearish prints?
Bullish.
Bullish plan.
Yeah, these are bullish single prints, right? So I would keep an eye on these as you get there because we can quickly accelerate again towards this price. So just keep that in mind as if we crack this level here. So that would mean it would go there. Does that make sense? And you would, if they do an ETH right now, I don't know what they're gonna do. If they do this, you're gonna wait for this, and then you can enjoy this. I don't know why is it doing this weird thing again. Let's try something. But yeah, that would be the bullish play, right? And let's see on the bearish side when you guys look at this. So when you let me just remove this.
Are you on ETH right now, Shorty?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
On RTH, right, we have a little ledge that's right here at 45.65, and you have this POC that's cumulative, right? I would say somewhere around there as well. Where is it? So it's like right here. Just hide this for a second. Before I do this, I don't want to do it again. So it has an access low on the bottom, but it's not, I would not call it very strong, right? I have no idea where this text goes, but that's okay. I'll know what this means. So this is your access low, right? And then if they're able to crack that, most likely you'll have some like 61 small bounces, but ultimately they would test the bottom here to make sure the buyers are sitting there. And you would have some level of interest here because that was our VPOC previously. And now I would say they're probably going to come here and test it. The key of everything you do is going to be here, and you take profits here. They lose this. Remember how there was a chart in PowerPoint. You lose this, regain, you go long, first target here. You come back here, you lose this, short to this. And then you lose this, you go short to this. You're basically playing this first level, profit, go get in, profit, short on weakness, go above, fail, profit, lose, profit here. Does that make sense? You're just playing kind of ping pong in between.
Yeah, that makes
That's assuming like a balanced profile, right? Like they still in this indecision mode, so that they play between XSI and XS low.
Have they given you a reason not to believe that the past 2.5 weeks?
Got it.
No.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, they didn't really give us a reason, right? So when you think about it, right? So this is the, this is the level that we're in right here, and they really did not give us a reason not to. So this is your, the high, I had to add this, something got stuck. And you see that we were stuck in here. Look at your first sig here. It's respecting the hell out of it, right? We were hitting, we were bouncing, hitting, bouncing, reclaim, bouncing. So they're happy trading in here, right? There's just not much interest to go above. Any interest that was in, we got quickly brought back. And I mean, the rule of the value area is if you go above and then you fail inside, you're going to explore the opposite side of that value area. And that's exactly what they did today, right? They, obviously they failed here. They had the gap here. And look how quickly they explored the bottom. They explored the bottom, and somebody on the bottom said what?
Nope.
Responsive buy.
Oh, this is responsive buyers. They said, hey, this is a great deal for us. We'll buy it.
Yep.
So you just can't argue. And now they peaked above, and now you're getting these candles, right, on RTH. So I would just be aware of these levels, right? And each POC that you have here is going to offer some sort of bounce and a relief. But I would say I'd much rather play 3 levels than have, if you mark every POC on this chart, your chart's going to look like a bunch of shit.
Yeah, you replace.
To me, it would just be too much. That's why I'm only marking these key levels here and going off of that, if that makes sense. And then range low, range high, let that dictate, the balances. And I would expect a decent bounce in this area, right? This would be my interest right here, maybe even a little tighter like this. Okay. So that'd be ES. Any questions on ES?
The larger profile you have, Shorty, is that a 2 weeks composite profile, the volume profile?
So this one right here is just, so if you look at it, when I started this, I gave you guys an idea that we are in a 1, 2, I would say 2 weeks and 2 days balance, right? So you see the value area highs are really overlapping. We made a higher high here, but we quickly got brought down. Then we had another spike from there, and then we quickly got gapped down. So this is the balance. You're pretty much in a 2-week balance. You're in a range right here of 46.08 and 45.36, and then the value area is here. So it's basically an FVP starting from here to the end.
I see.
Fixed volume profile, that is.
Yep. Thank you.
And that's basically, composite profile to give us, right? And you can use VRVP like I did earlier. You can definitely do this, and you see where they're finding a lot of interest to trade, right? I mean, this is telling you right here, the interest is here, right? Because if there's a high volume node, right, what does it tell you?
A lot of trading is happening over there.
Yeah, a lot of liquidity, and it's almost like in the marketplace. If you see a lot of people on 2 tables buying oranges, well, people are happy buying those oranges. They must be good, right? And the word of the mouth's being exchanged, and they're going for it, right? So that's why you get this, and you get a lot of volume. And then you see the next volume that we have, and you can make this maybe a little bit less, so you guys can see that.
And then for this type of profile, is it worth to just buy at the low volume lot, or should we aim for the next level, like point of control, like the red one you just adjusting right now?
This one here?
Yeah, like should I buy at the range low, which is basically a low volume lot, like you have on the chat, or should I buy at the red one?
Right here?
Oh no, like lower.
This one?
Yeah. Like should I buy here or buy at the range low you have on the? You just write it down on the picture.
This one?
No, the range low. It's 45,
at the range
36.
low. I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
the range low. Yes. So if you go to the range low, that would indicate that there's going to be some weakness, right? When you arrive at the range low, right? When you come here, that's where you got to kind of rely a little bit more on the footprints to see, are we getting some kind of absorption? Are we getting buyers today like we did? If you guys think about it, at 11 o'clock, there was, a lot of buyers stepped in, right? And they stepped in right at 45.55, and Delta went from, I believe, negative 5,000 to negative 400. So there was a lot of absorption, right?
Absorption,
that happened, and you're watching that. So on a chart, the way it looked, let me give you guys a clue here. So this is today when they hit 55, and that's when I went long, is here. So if you got, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
I can actually,
Yeah.
what the hell I'm doing? Why can I not just bring the chart over? Okay, let me look here. So if you guys look here, let me remove the drawing tools. So if you look here, look what happened. You're going lower, right? Volume is picking up. What happened to volume here?
Volume drop.
Volume dropped, delta dropped, volume dropped significantly. You put in a higher low here with two what?
Completed auction.
Yeah, two completed auctions. And then I always tell you, as soon as you have a completed auction and you're looking for some absorption, you want to pay attention to some aggression. And there's your aggression, right? You cracked it. You got inside this little value area of the candle in here. And then the rest was, I would say, history, right? Then they came back. If you were to draw just a profile right here on Delta, I'm pretty sure we would have a reason why we bounced where we did here. And that's pretty much your last resort of the buyer sitting there. If you go now and look at the whole day, right? If you zoom out a little bit, let's see. Let's see where the buyers are. So, you know, the buyers were sitting up top. Does this look like a trap for buyers or bears?
It looks like a trap for buyers.
That's correct. Why?
Because right now they're sitting on the top, but then price is actually closing down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, we're getting rejecting.
somebody got sold off, and then, you know, during the day, well, towards the end of the day, I think it was about 353. I said, yeah, there's most likely that they're going to go from here. They're going to go to 65. Because if you lower this and increase the tick size to maybe like 5-ish, why did I do that, right? So if you lose 75, look where your biggest delta is, right?
Yeah.
Your liquidity is going to be sitting there. That's major. And now if they lose this, the chances of them going, you know, from here to here bounce are really high. And then it would be really interesting what happens here. And the reason is, are they going to set the trap, or are they going to actually start, you know, proceeding lower?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look here, you know, if you go on something like 4 hours, I'm just going to remove some stuff here. So if you look at the 4 hours, look at the volume on, right out of open, right? I mean, that's pretty good volume, right? And you're selling, and the only thing that's kind of interesting here is that you completed the auction. You're telling them, hey, we're interested in going, but price is higher. So now if you see the 71 double HVN POC in 4 hours, that's going to be an important level for them to crack from this perspective, right? And you see here, right, that we consolidated for, I mean, obviously we just saw it on other charts. You consolidated here for a very long period of time, right?
2 weeks.
And now if you draw just the, you know, from here to here, if you just draw this and increase your tick size maybe to about 7, and then let's zoom in a little bit. Look where we are right now. So they have a little bit of left here, right? They lose 60 here, and then they really can dump this all the way to
26, 25.
Okay, and the level that we had on our chart that we are interested to go along is 45.23. So that area here, we had it initially at this node, but I changed it a little bit. I tightened it. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have a decent confluence there at that point to potentially participate.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a lot of long straps, in my opinion, right here.
I was just curious about like when should I pay more attention to like buying at a low volume node instead of just buying at the next level of liquidity, you know, the distribution POC.
Distribution POC, what, like, are you talking about like accumulation POCs?
Yeah, like so basically like so say if we have a double distribution from the top distribution go to the down distribution, I was buying at 2 POC. That's usually the way to play, right?
That's
But
correct.
then,
That's a good setup. Yeah.
yeah. But then when should I take into consideration of the the low volume lot, the single print in between?
Maybe I'm not following to answer it correctly. I'm trying to, but maybe I'm not following the question. So is it on this chart that you're referring to?
Yeah. So that like I just wanted to know that should I buy at 45.36 because it's a low volume area, or should I buy at 45.25 to 45.20 that area?
Okay, so I would not buy this. I don't buy low volume nodes on a single tap. I typically buy accumulation levels on the first level tap. So if we were to come to this level,
Yeah.
right, this should be a tap that I take on the first try, and I take it and proceed higher. I don't buy necessarily low volume node because there was no activity there. You might have people defending that level, but it won't be as massive as where you had a high volume node and a participation. Is there a chance that we're going to bounce a range low? Yeah, but is there a chance that you might just slice to it and hit 45.20 because this right now is where liquidity is sitting.
Yeah.
So it just depends if how much risk and how eager are you to play. If we come here at the range low, let's say tomorrow they deliver 36. And then you look at the footprint charts, we go back on, let's say 10-15 minutes, and you see the volume slowing down, right? The auction is taking a little break, and you see the absorption is happening, and then you see what we saw today at 55. I would take a long, right? The market at that point would be telling me, yeah, go ahead and take a long. And the same thing identical happened today, right? I would say I would look for identical setup, either absorption or move on less volume down, that's indicating no interest to sell, right? Or if you see like today here, not very strong, right? When you came here, you left the C period and the D period never went framing down. So that means you're going to have a little bit of excess, not a lot, right? But on the opposite side, they left, I would say, twice as much, right, on the access side.
Correct. Yeah.
So if they come in here and absorb, right, it would mean a lot more stronger buyers stepped in than if they come in here and sell through, right? In my opinion, right? Because you don't need a lot right now to sell through here. It's almost like a poor low here instead of a excess low, right? So it's not very strong. 2 TPOs is the minimum. I think we're going to revisit this low here tomorrow. Not sure if there's any news that might drive it, but let's see. PMI.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
We have jolts. We have jolts at 10.
Oh, jolts, yeah. So there's reasons to push that. There's Dumpsty's total vehicle sales. But some imports and then non-farms. So it's a pretty jobless claims December 7th. So I think there could be a reason why they could push this out this week, but that's how I would play the range low. Usually at low volume nodes, right, they're used to protect, because if they want to proceed higher, they would just clean up the liquidity, whatever they can, and then they would go from the low volume node.
Yeah.
But when it's a range like this, if you're able to crack through some of these levels, right, even if you're to grab this accumulation to the top here, there's going to be a nice little volume node that's being built in here, right? And that's kind of where they bounced.
Yeah.
I don't see any low volume nodes. They didn't really accumulate today. It's almost like they had massive orders sitting here.
Yeah.
They're not showing me that they had massive orders here.
They got there and just bounced.
So let's see how we do in the morning around the 65 level. For me, they can do whatever they want in RTH around these levels. But if they quickly drop below an ETH and they reclaim this in RTH level, my eyes and ears kind of perk up, and that means the real cash session is interested in a higher level. And this might not be a bad, I would say, long level right now, especially if they lose it and regain it, right? To trap some people here, this would be a pretty good long level for me for tonight.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Where would you put your stop loss here?
ETH is funny, right? Probably somewhere around here where they have a little bit of a ledge. If you did this, it'd be about 62.75 right here. You're giving them
All right,
3
thank you.
points, but I would aim probably 10, so 3-1. And I think NQ is going to be even worse than this one, just because they've been, I would say, accumulating longer. Seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
it's gonna drop like a rock.
I mean, it has, you know, look where it's at. Look at this profile. That's cumulative, right?
Yeah.
They're really on, you know, they're playing with fire here because this is your lowest volume node here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your lowest value area that you have. And look where we are.
Yeah.
You know, you crack through this, and we'll look at the, you know, to see what happened on this candle here.
Yeah, fly.
But you have some, you know, single prints probably from here all the way down to about here.
Yeah.
Are gonna be there, right? And you know, you could quickly do this on a TPO and find it, but it's just a little funky on NQ and trading view so far. So let's look at the daily for a second, and then we'll switch. See what they're telling us. Definitely won't work on one. And you see, again, I mean, they're the POC here, even if you zoom out a little bit, you know, there's a high chance they can hit this. What is this? 386. That's 500 points away, but you have volume nodes and liquidity sitting at each one of these nodes. So let's zoom in. Seems like it's ready. All right, so we definitely have access high, right? So that's telling you that other time frame sellers are pushing the price down. And when you think about this on, was it Sunday or Saturday? I don't know which day. I think it was Sunday. I said this was your 2-day balance on NQ. It's pretty clear, right? That they had overlapping value areas, POC shifted, right? And then what happened? They gapped down, and look, they tried to get inside the value area here, and they were not able to. So for right now, what is the market telling them?
Rejection.
Rejection. You're going to seek value lower, right? And now you don't have to zoom out too far
Yeah,
because
big gap
there's a
down below.
giant black hole below right here. So
It's gonna drop like a rock.
and now if you look here, is there access on the bottom? Yeah. So they're slowly fixing the poor structure. They're not doing it all at once. Because remember, if they want to push the market up, and you know, if you want to bring in more buyers and more latecomers, do you really want to scare them away and fill this in a day?
No.
Typically, you could fill this gap in a day. You already cracked it. But why did they do that? Well, if they dropped it here, how many people would have been skeptical to buy long?
Right.
Right now, they're not as skeptical because they're like, oh man, we bounced back inside. Right. So
We
their goal
fixed
is to
everything.
slowly lower high and lure these people to buy calls, buy calls, buy calls. And then these people, you know, maybe one of you guys were at this point before. Oh, I bought calls here. Never mind. I'll add calls here because it's gonna bounce. Never mind. I'll add calls here. And then you keep doing this and you're like, oh shit. Where'd
Yeah.
my money go? Right. And then you check and it's like, man, they
And
just
you
went
zoom
through the gap,
out.
right?
Yeah.
And you really didn't get anywhere, right? But this will be filled probably by the end of the week, right? That unless you know they reclaim this cumulative POC that we're about to find. And that
Now they have a
POC,
gap up too, right? Like
I mean, you have this, you know, if you're looking at my screen, you have this giant volume node here that's sitting, man, this is a pretty big double distribution node here. You have to crack 1916 if you want to see much movement higher. And that's about what, I mean, that's not a lot on NQ. That's a blink of an eye, 60 points move, 2 candles. But they got to crack this level here if they go to, because if on a double distribution right now, what it's telling you, right? Well, let me ask you guys, what is it telling you when you have a double distribution like this and you're trading below the second volume node right now, I guess beyond the peak here? What is it telling you? What is the market telling you?
they couldn't unction it up. There's no interest on buying higher.
Okay. Anyone else?
The buyers at that bottom node there, when they came back to test it to see if they wanted to buy it again, they're not willing to step in and hold it. So should drop lower.
Correct. They're accepting prices lower, right? Unless this changes, right? And tomorrow, the first sign of bullishness would be to reclaim this level here, right? If they're able to reclaim this level, right? Let's call it right here. If they're able to reclaim this as 876, I can't even see, man. I might have to reach out to Dr. Luce here. If they reclaim this, then, there's some bullishness and it's going to be choppy. I mean, I don't think you have to go far to find how choppy. It's going to be choppy. It's going to be really bad for them to get there. And once they clear this level, I would say this here would happen probably in a day, right? And that's nothing, guys. I mean, that's 100 points in NQ is piece of cake, right?
The blink of an eye.
Yeah, so they can do that, right? They can quickly, execute on that. So I would just keep an eye on it. Here, let me go in 65 minutes to make sure I have the right levels. Okay. Let's see. So that'd be the levels I watch for an NQ. This is my pivotal level right here. If you could crack about this zone here, you can turn bullish because that's a double distribution. You're reclaiming, and most likely you're going to look for acceptance somewhere higher. Not a bad idea when you're in a period like this consolidating to do what? Besides this, because usually when you draw your FVP, I would say, but let me
Your
go.
fibs.
You typically want to see, the fib to be somewhere around 50%. Right here, the POC is shifting much lower, right? And it's kind of like a double distribution on the bottom node. So if you're able to reclaim that level that we just had, I just noticed that was an RTH because of the damn TPOs. I wish they would just do it automatically for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the area that we have to pop over, right? And then from the daily perspective, we'll find the levels on value area high. But if they clear this, guys, there's not much stopping them. They can run to this level 961 and ultimately go to this node here and check. Because right now, if they reclaim this level, it's identical play that I've been telling you guys. You drop below the value area and you reclaim it. What do I usually tell you?
Go to the other side.
It's going to most likely go to the other side, especially if you have a POC in between. Look what they did today. I mean, they came right to that zone and they rejected it. So now if they're able to hold this here, and it'll be a really, really interesting here what they do overnight. If they're able to hold this, guys, don't be surprised to see, I don't know, what the news come in tomorrow and you see
Going up. Yep.
something like this, right? And this would be a critical go long level, right, for me, because that would mean in this, crazy profile that we have here, almost, it's a double distribution, skinny belly, that you're seeking from the day prior, even though I'm on ETH, you're seeking acceptance where?
On the top.
On the upper distribution, right? Not
Yeah.
on the bottom. You're trying to get out of here to go higher. So it's
Yeah.
almost like, hey, I'm trying to go from train A to train B, but I gotta accept this little risk here. So that's, the play I'll be looking for. This is actually not a bad long right here. Because when you think about it, if you just grab this volume profile right here from the top to here, look where the POC is on that. It's right here, right? So it's not too bad, right? I mean, this is your pretty much RTH session POC, and we are right there right now. So
We're right there.
it's not a bad long, right? You could risk a little bit here, probably 8 points or so, but you could be looking at about 65 points gain. And I personally like that type of risk. Okay. So any questions so far? Thank you. I think I didn't mark all the levels on the daily.
So say, Shorty, if I out to take this trade, would let's say footprint works on the ETH? Because the liquidity is just not as high as the
Yeah,
RTF.
I wouldn't use footprints too much on ETH. They can really do nothing.
Yeah.
So
mean,
basically, you
it's
just play
so
levels
bad.
to levels, right?
Yeah, I play levels to levels. I mean, and you have to be familiar with ETH footprints, so you know what is the average, what's the what's the normal movement. Right
Yeah.
now,
Like the
Delta is
speed and volume. I
166.
see.
Look at you can look at delta and time and sales, but other than that,
Like right now, Delta's 213. Is that good or bad for ETH? I have no idea. I don't trade it
Why
too
not?
much. Like, I don't know. I have no idea if it's good or bad. And here's the POC here on TPO. So this is not a bad level. They had this little spike here. So they have the access, they have the value, and then they have the access low here as well. So I would definitely watch these levels. There's a little bit of a ledge here at 795. And you guys know that level. Did everybody have 796 today?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
think
yeah,
most of
I
you.
wonder like why it reversed there actually.
Well, it was a liquidity, that they grabbed of the low, and that was the access bottom, right? That would mean right here, right? If you look, this was their access, right? So they couldn't, go below that, right? And then they, of course, they did that, right? The drop all the way here. So they pulled, but this is their level now that they want to reclaim to show that the bulls are still now in control here. And you see them pulling kind of here a little bit funky off of this level. I didn't have 727 on my charts. Well, I'll have to check the other charts, but let me see here. Maybe I did. We did have 31 level on there. Trying to figure out what was it from. I didn't have it marked.
I had 721, which was September Valley area high. It bounced there to the T.
Yeah, they have to hold this level here. This was our do or die. I guess they died. Okay, let me just go back. Thank you, because I think Burnside's gonna be looking for like, hey man, where are my levels? So we do have a peak VPOC here. Let's just turn this guy on. Yeah, there's the bounce right now. Thank you. Coming. Not a bad long. So this is your PDPOC. Your value area high is at 84. I would target 84, probably 74 and 84. And then your value area low is right here. I'm adding this because I don't have a lot of levels, but below. Because there's a gap, right? So anything that they stop, I'm gonna take a look at it. Okay, so when you zoom out here, I'm just gonna turn off a bunch of this off. What do you guys want to see here? So obviously we covered this point here, right? We need to see them hold it, right? We need to see this hold if they want to tap higher. The key level for us is this level here. Why is that?
Like a multiple days POC, just like
I'm just gonna put 20-day POC. I'm not sure how many, but that's a lot of days here. I would say it's somewhere in that range. Oh, did I just nail that? Wow, I'm talking. 20-day POC, so I nailed that one. I think it's a sign from God to go along. So this would be a pretty good level. You're right off the first sig here, so I'm just gonna mark this first sig here, and this will be our first sig on the top. And you see the double distribution that we talked about. If you're able to clear this level, man, things open up quite a bit, right, to the upside. And I would definitely mark up the 2 sig is going to be important on the top. So it's going to be somewhere, man, it's super high. Okay. And it seems like they hit the single prints here. I'm not interested to see if I was to do. Okay. I was just checking to see what. This is our November POC and we're below it. So if we don't reclaim this POC, what is it telling you? We had this happen in September, if you guys remember, when we went short. Similar setup if you go back. We went above, we reclaimed it, we lost it, we tested it from the bottom. High potential that you're going to be going to 380. Guys.
Yeah, if we don't reclaim it, it means weakness. We're going to the bottom.
There's a high chance we're going to be.
Yeah.
Here. And a lot of people are buying these dips with calls, I guarantee you. And I'm talking about like heavier options and whatnot. But let's see what they do, right? So my ideal setup here is to go long. They're probably going to test the high here, 45, 12 points. If they lose this tomorrow during cash, I'm just going straight short. That would be enough weakness for me. They tried, they failed, and then I'll short that below. I would look to slow down and trim some here at 791. That's pretty good, 40 points. But it would probably auction to the bottom here. And if you guys look, right, if you grab this volume right here from, even if you grab 930, there is a volume node that they can bounce right here. I would definitely keep an eye on this 750 area now. So, because this PD vol is in a low volume area here. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that'll be it for me. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll write it up in Shorty's corner as well for people that don't have time to watch it.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you, Shorty.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Night. Thank you, Rockets.